Hi, Gay DeRusso with the Majestic Rider. Here today on Icelandic. I am in her saddle. It's a stone wall, and then I just have a little extra fleece on the top of it because I'm pretty bony. And the stirrups are a little long for me, so we'll see if it's okay if we punch holes in her stirrup leathers. All right. So he just got here not that long ago. We're getting him used to all the neighborhood stuff. He is originally from Iceland, and he just wasn't used to the goats and dogs barking at the fence and all sorts of stuff like that. But he's getting better, so I've just been hand walking him out there, getting him used to it. And then we were giving her lessons, so this lateral flexion is much better, but he used to just spin in the beginning. Now I just dropped my stick, so of course now we got to get off and get that. But at least her saddle fits well, so we're going to try and get on from the ground. Now I did lunge this guy. Some Icelandics tend to take off a little bit on the lunge line, or when they get upset, or at least the ones they send to me, that's what happens. So they can bolt a little bit. So he does have a little issue in that corner, so we'll see how he does today. But when I was lunging him, now I'm going to do the vertical flexion, he tried to take off because he didn't want to do it, and then he ran into that corner. And just so you know, what I do is I said, then let's go to that corner. That's where you want to go. You got a magnet. And I lunged him over there, then I did the sending exercise, then I backed him up like 10 or more times. He doesn't want to go to that corner anymore. I wonder why. So remember, when they have a magnet, they want to go somewhere, take them somewhere, show them what it gets them. Then you won't be fighting it for the next couple of years, because they're smart enough, they figure out, no, I don't want to go there. So now we're going to walk. Now, he didn't immediately walk off, so that's why I tapped him with my stick. So we're just going to work on the bending circles like I do all in the beginning. Now, he just pulled on the bit, so I'm going to do my one rein stop. And then we're going to start again. And so he knows how to give to the bit, but since he's been here, I've been doing groundwork, so he's just pulling on the bit. Okay? Now, it's not like I expect him to put his head down right now. I don't even care. I just want him to bend. But he's not allowed to pull and drag me around. So if he does, this is what's going to happen every single time. And I'm pushing his hindquarter around. I'm trying to make it miserable. Like, you pull, that's what happens, okay? Because usually what happens is these are cute little guys, and some people usually rode them that didn't know how to ride, and they drag the people around, and then it becomes a habit. So he still keeps cutting in. Now usually you see I have the poles here. That helps, but he's not. He's just cutting in. And so that's why I'm hitting him with my spur. Horses like this will just ignore your leg because they're so used to ignoring people. And that's not Icelandics, that's just this horse. So Icelandics are great horses, don't get me wrong. It's just the ones that come into me have problems. Like all the horses, better, good boy. So when he does it right, then he gets rewarded. Good job, buddy. Good boy. But he doesn't get to drag people around anymore. That's a no-no. And it's hard because if you can't stop them from doing it, they'll just do it again. So I'm just going to spin him because he tried it again, and spin him some more. And then try to go back to my circle without being mad, okay? That's the hard part. Now, do you want to make a circle or not? The last time she took a lesson, he was making his circles pretty well, okay? But he decided he doesn't always have to make his circles. Now, he pulled there, so now I'm going to try and back him up. Now, he's not backing up very well, is he? So I'm not going to give up. I'm pulling and I'm releasing and I'm adding my leg until he does it right. So he is being a little bratty today. Good boy. So now we're just going to try it again. Now, one difference could be that now he's in the stall that's right in front of where I'm trying to make the circle. But that doesn't matter, okay? He's still got to make his circles. Doesn't matter if I'm riding in his pasture or riding in his stall. If he gets attracted over there and it keeps it up, I will just go right in his stall, because there's no safe place here, and they got to know that they can't just drag you around. So when he's pulling, I'm holding. When he's cutting in, I'm digging. Okay, let's see where he goes. I'm going to stop riding. So this is where he wants to be. You want to go out that gate and go into your stall. So what are we going to do? We're just going to go back and forth, kind of like the sending exercise. Because he wants to be over here, and you have to think, well, what could I do that was miserable? It's too wet in the stalls. Normally I would ride in their stalls, but it's too wet in there today, and I don't want him to slip or get hurt, so I'll just do this instead. You start thinking, well, what do I got to practice that he wouldn't like to do? And maybe I'll do it a whole bunch right in front of his stall, because doing that is not so fun. So now I'm going to jiggle the bit a little here. Now I'm going to turn. Now I'm going to jiggle. Now you got to be able to ride. You can't just do this. But you'll see I'm on my tippy toes in the stirrups a little bit. So a shorter stirrup would make me feel more secure. So if he's really bad, I might have to ride him in my saddle. Now, you don't want to stop over here, because this is where he wants to do stuff, right? So he's dragging me. So let's try our backups, because that has to get better anyhow. So, and I'm always ready to go forward, because they just might rear up. That's just part of it. Now that was pretty good. Now we're going to turn his hindquarter, and then we're going to back up this way. Now see, he just tried to pull me, and this is a snaffle. I recommended one with a twist, but I got this in the miler that I can use that she brought over. So I might have to go to the miler bit, because it'll just give me a little bit more. It's hard. You come in and you want to do something, and then they do some stuff like this, and you try to ignore it, and then it just keeps happening. So you just got to be like, okay, let's fix the magnet. The magnet's not fun to fix. So he just tried to drag me over there. Now lots of the horses will do these things. Now he decided to stop that time, but he just keeps pulling. So we'll see how much do we want to fight with this guy today. But the bit's not helping me. It has a dog bone in it. It's very gentle. It's not a full cheek, so it's not helping me with the steering. The full cheek can help you with the steering. So because he's bolting over there, in other words, he's trying to drag me, I'm sliding the bit anytime he does that, because he's trying to lean on the bit. And then if he really gets me and I can't control him, then I'm doing that one rein stop. But I might even have to put two hands. But the good thing is the backup is getting better. Okay. See me slide the bit? Now, you might think I'm being mean. I'm very small. I'm not very strong. I can outwit him. But I'm not going to hurt him, because all my strength is probably less than a man's hand, okay? And many of us are like this, so we have to think, well, what can I do to get him to stop doing this? And you got to do it enough that you're sure they're not pulling anymore before you try and go back out there. So I don't care that his mouth is opening, because I'm putting a lot of pressure. And with snuffles, it's all tongue pressure. So you're better to overdo it. Now he's backing up on his own. See that? How I let go and he's still backing up? So sometimes you have to go through a lot of bad to get to the good. Okay, now we're going to be nice and just walk away. He's like, holy moly, what is wrong with this crackhead? I'm like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. What is wrong with you, crackhead? Okay, so let's see if he knows how to bend now. Nobody shows you this stuff. Oh, magic, he's bending. Because the whole reason he wasn't bending is because he wanted to go to his stall. And the hard part, when you get a horse, lots of people they don't know what to do, they've never taken lessons, they have no help, and so the horse tries something like that, and then the horse gets away with it, and then it slowly gets worse and worse, and then they sell the horse. Okay? It's not like he just came up with that today. He learned that from somewhere. Okay? And I know it's not from the lady who bought him, because she doesn't do that stuff. She's a good rider. Okay? But now he's being much better bending. So anytime they're bad, lots of people, you can get off. You can do lots of things. If you can't ride that out, you can lunge them over there. You can do the sending exercise. You can back them up. If you can't do anything, you can tie them there. Just tie them and leave them. They want to be over there, leave them there all day. They'll decide that's not a good idea. You just have to think, what can I do that I can safely do and teach him a lesson, okay? Magnets, all horses have them. Now he's not bending so well. But the hard part is confronting that magnet, okay? So remember, our parents did lots of bad stuff. I always talk about Doritos because I like Doritos. But, you know, if you like Doritos and your parents don't want you to eat them and they made you eat 20 bags of Doritos and you threw up all over the place, guess what? You'll have an aversion for Doritos. They used to do that with smoking when smoking was in, right? You like to smoke, parents don't want you to smoke. They made you smoke like a whole bunch of packs of cigarettes till you threw up. Okay? And then you don't want to smoke anymore. So what you're trying to do is be like, you want to go there? Let's go there. And then overdo it. Okay? So you'll see now he's not pulling me that direction anymore. Now, he doesn't bend so well to the right, and I say this in all the videos, that most horses don't, because everybody spends a lot of time on the left. That's where you walk them. That's where you do all sorts of stuff. Now we're going to add circles into the right, okay? Because he doesn't bend so well to the right. There, he did some, he did good, so I let him go for a second. But we got to overdo the right, just like I did with Tilly, so we make him more even and more balanced. And that's the problem when you just, play around the arena without an agenda, or you just ride on the trail, is one side gets stronger than the other, and the other side just gets weaker. So you have to understand that, do you have to ride in the arena all the time? No. But you can ride in the arena enough you figure out which is their weaker side. That was a good circle. Good job, buddy. Oh, now he gets a break. I'll loose rein. That's the other thing. Everybody's afraid to let him go. If he runs me down there, I got the gates shut, so I'm okay. But I don't care. If he runs me down there, then I'm just going to do a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm not going to hold him here. That doesn't fix things. I got to make sure that magnet is fixed, that he doesn't want to go there, right? And you can give him a little cookie when he's over here. Say you felt bad for beating him up. You're like, hey, you want a cookie? So he has lots of hair. That's why it's tied up, so he can see. And I think he can see with his hair, but it makes me feel bad. So what you're trying to do is reward when they're good, give them work when they're bad. Okay? I didn't do anything hard. I didn't hurt them or anything like that. It might look bad because I'm struggling a little bit because I'm small. Let's walk. But otherwise, all I did was make him have work down there, and I gave him something we needed to do. Now he's not bending to the right again, so I'm going to circle to the right, and then rewarded him up here. So I'm going to try never to stop down there. So he's cutting way in again. So I'm just like, well, you could do this. We're just disengaging our hindquarters, or you could make a circle. Okay, so you can stick those things together. But with most people, I would recommend a different bit to help them have better control. Because if you don't have good control, and the horse just drags you around, you're going to pull on its mouth a lot more than you would in a different bit. And you're going to struggle, and it's going to take longer to fix them. First is you get a bit that gives you control, and then you can always go back down in bits. It's not like you have to stay with a harsher bit. You just want control. And then once you got it well, then in the arena you try to start going back to the other bit and see how it goes. Okay? Might have to be a little bit different because they can remember. That's a better bend. But see how long I bent him to the right? The left, he's pretty good, so I don't have to do that much. But you got to show him. And again, if I didn't have these spurs on, he wouldn't be bending at all. Because I'm really having to use this in his side to help him to give into that side. Okay? So this is why I always go through the whole foundation thing and make sure I have all the things I need on the horse, okay? So with him every day, I'm going to start off the same. I'm going to make the circles right down by his stall. And if he wants to go over there, I'm going to go over there. And then again in time, when that stall's dried up, I will leave that gate open. And if he wants to go over there, I'm going to run right out that gate and go right into his stall and just do all my arena work in his stall. And then come out and rest him in here. Okay, now not everybody can do that safely, so you don't do it if you can't. Now I'm going to make my circles. Okay, so you do what you can, okay? So now I'm going to the right first because the right is this bad direction. All right, so let's talk about Icelandics. Icelandics are small, sturdy horses. Do not call them a pony. It really pisses those people off. This is their horse, okay? They used to carry Vikings. They're strong and they're tough. They're opinionated. They can be spirited, okay? They're very cute, but they are not duds of horses, okay? It's not like a slower draft breed. These horses are bred to move, and so they're good for people that are active and like to ride a fair amount. A lot of them are very well trained. They've had dressage and some other things, but not all of them, okay? But everybody always comments when I say the gaited horses aren't trained well. They go, well, my Icelandic is, or my Paso is, or this or that is. Yes, I'm not talking about you then, am I? I am talking about the ones that aren't trained well, because that's what gets sent to me. The horses are trained well, they usually don't come in, okay? Now, I gave him a little tap there not to go faster, but to help push him over. Okay. So he's walking out. I don't have that much leg on him. He was kind of doing his flat walk. I'm fine just doing a trail walk, but we're not stopping to go at the bathroom. And the reason for that is because he dragged me over to his stall. So I'm like, no, when you're good, then maybe I'll let you stop to go to the bathroom, or maybe I won't. But if he can drag me over there, then he can walk and go to the bathroom, okay? You start letting a horse like this stop to go to the bathroom all the time, he takes that as a win, and he's going to use that against you because he's smart. So we're just making our circles, and then we're going to go into the leg yield. So he has to have all this basic foundation so I can control him. There he pulled on me, and I just slid the bit, okay? So a lot of times I'll use the sliding the bit if they're doing something inappropriate. I'll do it kind of a little hard. And I'll also use it if I'm needing to get control and I got to get their head way down and they're not listening to pressure. But if the horse is being good, I don't slide the bit. I just apply pressure, ask them for their head down, and then try to drive them forward and get them to engage. Okay. So now we're doing our leg yield. Remember, when you're doing this leg yield, you're trying to keep your horse semi-straight. You don't want to just turn it towards the fence, which a lot of people do. You want its whole body to go over there at the same time, because when you use that leg yield, say you're going down the trail and a bike is coming, or you got to go around a tree or something, you want their whole body to move over, okay? If you want just their shoulders to move over, then you bring your leg forward a little bit. But when I'm doing a leg yield, my leg is back, and I want his whole body to go over together. And I want to go forward and sideways. So this is important because it helps you with your gait at times when you're going down the trail and they get a little pacey. Now I'm doing other things as I'm riding him. Anytime he kind of pulls down, I'm kind of whipping that bit around back and forth in his mouth. If his mouth is quiet and he's not pulling on me, like his head's fine now, he has a nice headset there, and he's not pulling, so I just have very light contact. But if he starts pulling, I'm going to do something to try to get his weight off of that. The hard part with the gaited horses, again, a lot of things go into training, and, you know, before you get your horse, if it's fully trained, your horse probably tried a lot of bad things. You just never saw it happen. And they might have bucked, they might have reared, they might have done all sorts of stuff when they were in training and learning what to do, but you never saw it, so you weren't afraid that they were going to do those things because the trainer worked through it, and it went away. But those things can come back, so that's why you're always trying to catch problems when they're small. Your horse starts doing something, you don't know what to do, you get help immediately. You don't wait until they're bolting and running home on the trail. Now his leg yield's much better. Good job, buddy. Good boy. But if you wait till it's really bad, it's much harder to fix. And then you're telling the trainer, hey, I can only afford 2 weeks, so fix that in 2 weeks. And we're like, seriously? It's not going to be done well. Because we got to make sure that horse has everything on it, so then you can do it and that it understands it well. But if we put a week or two on it and you get on it and you don't ride well and you don't know what to do, it's not going to stick. Now, he just pulled on me as we were going that way, and I just grabbed whichever rein I could to make him do this. So he has something he understands. I'm going to do it both ways. Now he's pulling me down also. I told you these things are strong. Then we're going to try it again. All right. So here we go. Don't pull down, dude. There we go. Better. Okay? So when they do something, you got to react, because if you don't react, even if you're like, well, it wasn't that bad, next time it'll be worse, and the time after that will be even worse, because they got away with it. Okay? So I'm going to do the leg yield just one more time each side. So I'm doing it more on the right, a lot more than usual, because he's bad this direction, and that was going to be the last one, except he just pulled on me there. So this guy's got to learn. Yes. Let the devil out. Let him out. Probably a Tasmanian devil, because you kind of look like that little thing from the cartoon. He's a cute thing. I really like this horse. He just has a little attitude. Okay? All right, so now we're going to try and push him over again. But he decides at times, I don't want to do that. And you know why he does that? Because he did that at some point, and somebody said, okay, don't do it. And he goes, good, that's great. I'll do that every time I don't want to do something. Okay? And they're dangerous. You can't just let them take off and do things, because they can hurt you. This guy could go under a tree and duck, and you don't duck, and, you know, it makes you go flying off. Now, I think they just shot a BB gun behind me, and he shot forward. So I'm going back to where he came, but I'm not resting, because that's by his stall. So when they squirt forward, stop back up. Don't let them run forward. Don't let them know that's an option when you're up there on his back. Okay. So now we're going to practice our stop. So sit back, leg off. Oh, good boy. Now I'm going to pull and then leg. Pull, leg, and then I release. Pull, leg, and release. Good. So his backup's much better, because he was very bad, weren't you? No, you got to try harder still. Good boy. Now I don't want to stay too long there and rest, because that's by his stall. So if I'm going to give him any rest, I want him to be as far away from his magnet as it can be. Okay? And that's why if you say you trail ride and you're like, I did what you said and I tied him up in the stall and, it doesn't work. No, you want to tie him away from his friends, somewhere scary where nobody else is around, no horses. Now he pulled on that one, so I slid the bit. Now he's not doing it so well, so guess what? I'm going to do that again. He probably thinks he's done. Whoa. So he needs a lot of backing up, okay? Because he goes forward when he doesn't want to do something. So you do the reverse. If he wants to go forward, then we do lots of backing. Okay, now we're going to go again. But this is why it's important to know what your horse knows and with its foundation, because I can tell you a lot of the problems with gaiting and everything else in control is because the horse either doesn't have a foundation or doesn't listen to the person, or the person doesn't know what to do. Well, good boy. Now he's backing up better here. And Time would like him to back with his head down. Okay. Now we're going to go the other way. So I'm going to switch my stick over because he doesn't always listen to my leg. Turn on the forehand. So left rein, left leg. And I'm not being that nice about it because he likes to ignore. Okay? Good boy. No. All right. So now we're going to go to walking in this direction. Okay. So far he's doing fine, but he's not doing fantastic, and that's normal because those horses usually don't come in for training, okay? And maybe he's mad I made a little pom-pom on his head, but who knows? But Icelandics are great horses, and they're tough little horses, but the hard part, they come here, some people spoil them or they think they're, ponies for their kids. And remember, they're called horses. And so you get a young one, you give it to the kid or family member, and then it doesn't go well because they take over. They're strong. And they can be a little bit stubborn, some of them. Okay, any horses can be. But because they're strong, just like draft horses, they know they can take over if they really want to. And usually, somewhere along the line, they drag somebody around. So it's very important you get good training on it, get a good stop, make sure it has that one rein stop and all those things to help you. Okay? So if you're a beginner or you're an older person and you're like, I want an Icelandic, I think the older ones are good. He's on the older side. I forgot if he's 11 or 13. I've gotten people, Icelandics, that were in their 20s. They usually live up to their 40s if they're well taken care of, and they're great. They can be, horses that anybody can ride, but that's usually better when they're more arthritic, and want to be slower, because these horses, you see them on those videos tolting, they can go quite fast, okay? And so when they have that power and that speed, you got to make sure you can control it if it ever comes out at the wrong time. Okay, so we're making our circle. I kind of got distracted. So to the left, he's quite good. So I don't have to do as many of these things to the left. And I feel like her stirrups, like the right one's a little bit longer, so that might be affecting me as well. On the shorter horses, I like a shorter stirrup because it keeps my leg against them better. So if you have long legs and a short horse, just shortening up your stirrup if it's not bothering your knee or your hip or anything can make it easier to get contact on that horse. Okay. Now he's already leg yielding over without me doing that much. So if he does another good one, that's all I'm going to do. So I'm going to do probably 2 or 3 at the most in this direction, and the other direction I probably did 6 to 8. Now right here I'm going to slide the bit just lightly, like, hey, don't think about going to the gate and being annoying. and then I'm going to release when I get away from the gate. So I'm going to try and do that every time at the gate to make sure he knows he shouldn't go over there. Okay, so now he did another really good leg yield, so I don't have to do a bunch more. Okay, now our footing's a little wet, so I'm looking for spots that it's not as hard to back up, somewhere that has hard footing. So I'm going to breathe out, sit back. Whoa. Now he didn't stop that time, so I did pull on the reins. Now I'm going to add my leg and release, hand, leg, release, hand, leg, release. So use your hand first to tell them the direction, and then your leg to say go. Everybody does their backup different, but I do it that way, so when I just put pressure on them, they know that means head down. When I put pressure on the rein but then add my leg, that means go backwards, okay? If I put their head down and then release and then add leg, that means go forward. And horses are very smart. Whoa, that was a good one, buddy. And he's starting to rock back. So he's trying. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good boy, yes. See, I told him I liked you. But he just has some issues going on right now, and that's normal. I forgot if she said he was in a lesson program or what happened. But with lesson horses, people torture those poor things all the time. They're always pulling on their mouths for balance, so it's no wonder that here and there they kind of run off with people or try to get away because they're trying to save themselves. Okay? Okay, so we're going to try another stop. Good boy. So there he stopped without pressure on the rein. So his backup's not bad. It's just not great. The other way was better. He tried a little bit harder, didn't you? Yeah, you tried harder that direction. So I'm going to try another one. So even as we go faster, I might do backups. I might do them all the time just to get those as good as I can, since he has that tendency that he might jump forward. Okay? Having a horse bolt on you can be very scary. So if you have a horse that does that, you want to fix it in the arena, fix it really well, make sure it doesn't have any medical problems causing it, and then get it really good before you start going outside the arena. So that was good. He's already sweaty because he's very furry. So now we're just going to give him a break. And then we've done our backups, our leg yield, our circles. So now we're going to start kind of flat walking. And so I'm going to keep them in a circle so you can see them, and we'll flat walk around. Now, again, all the horses have gaits that can be similar to each other. So many times with the Icelandic, they walk, trot, tolt, and they canter, and then they have a flying pace. Now, each horse is different. He can trot. She doesn't want him to trot, so I'm not going to trot this horse, okay? We're going to try and just tolt him and just try to make that smooth, slower, and then faster. It's probably quite smooth. But he naturally trots in here when he's loose, and he tolts, so we know it's not going to be that hard for him to tolt because he can do it naturally. Some of the gaited horses will just trot, and it doesn't mean they can't tolt. It just might be a little bit harder to get, okay? So since we got the camera running, we're going to go to our flat walk. Now I'm going to change directions and go to the right. And so we're going to do another turn on the forehand. So I'm not trying to do so right rein, right leg, and then whoa, so he doesn't walk away. But I'm not trying to do the turn on the haunches yet, because his turn on the forehand needs to be better, and we don't want to confuse him. All right, so for your flat walk, we're just going to try and get a fast walk, okay? It's good to have all different speeds with your gaited horses, okay? Now, they don't list the flat walk under the Icelandic gaits, okay? But I think every horse should be able to flat walk, and you see he can do it quite well. He doesn't have a big stride. He's going to have a short stride, but he can have a fast walk. Okay? But I like to get it, make sure it's independent footfall, pretty All pretty clean if we can. Some will be a little bit more lateral when they're slower. And then we'll see what we get as we go faster, okay? Now he slowed down a little bit there, and that's why I just gave him a little tap. I like to use my dressage whip for forward or moving them sideways because sometimes your leg is just a little bit much. If you can't ever see a horse's head shake, just look at his little pom on his head. So see, he's an Icelandic, but he's flat walking, so he's shaking his head. Okay? Depends on how much shoulder motion they have and how much they drive off of that back end on how much head shake your horse will have no matter what breed, okay? The ones that move kind of like Paso Fino, say it's a mix or something, or Peruvian, they're not usually going to have as much head shake, especially the Paso Finos are a little bit more up and down, okay? But those two, when people go, well, what's the smoothest horses? It's usually the Pasos and the Peruvians. I don't think they've been messed with in the show ring. Most of them are barefoot. You know, they can have other issues, but they're usually pretty well gaited. And if you're coming from something like that, then you got to know whatever you get next. If you don't get another Paso or Peruvian, it might not be as well trained or as well gaited, and it's not going to be as smooth usually unless you're lucky. But many of them are not as smooth as those horses. You don't move around a lot. The funny thing is, even though I like those horses a lot and I think they're great horses, is that I like movement. So everybody has their preference, but I like feeling this back and forth movement, and he doesn't have a lot because he doesn't have a big overstride, but he has some. All right. Oh, good boy. So every time I stop with him from now on, I'm backing up. And when he doesn't do it well, like right there, he leaned on me, I'm going to slide that bit. Good job. Okay? He's just got to understand there's new rules, okay? It's like having a new teacher, a new babysitter. You're like, uh-oh, she's a little mean, that one. So it doesn't mean we're not going to be friends. It doesn't mean he's not going to like me. He does like me already. But he's got to understand things are a little bit different, and I'm here to help him be the best horse he can be. So we'll give him a little break, and then we're going to go the other direction. So normally if the camera wasn't on, I would flat walk a lot longer. Okay? See how much he practices doing that rope down there? That horse is so used to that stuff, and that's a stallion. So, okay, now I'm trying to turn him. I didn't switch my stick over, and he's not doing his turn on the forehand. So now I'm going to give him a tap. Yep. But that kid practices all the time. He's good, and that's why he's good, because he practices all the time. And hear him getting mad at himself? He tries harder when he's mad. That's how you know people are going to be good. When they get mad at themselves, I go, oh, I'm not worried about you at all. And they go, what? And I go, you're going to pick on yourself more than I would ever pick on you. Okay? So those people will learn, and they will take criticism because they want to be the best they can be. Sometimes the hard part with some people, if they can't take criticism, and all they do is you're trying to help them learn, and they keep thinking you're just picking on them. They're like, you're just picking on me. I'm like, well, you're paying me for a lesson. Should I not tell you what to do? Isn't that the point? So if you want to get better and you got to learn, you have to be able to take criticism. And that's what these horses do. He took criticism. I said, no, you can't go to your stall. He said, I want to go to my stall. I said, you can't. That's it. Okay? And he goes, okay. Horses are much easier than people because you just show them. You just give them harder work where they want to be and you don't want them to be, and they just go, hey, okay, I want the easy. But people, we think people are judging us or being mean or something else. Just take the instruction if you paid for it and learn. You can learn something from everybody, even if it's, learning I would never treat somebody like that, or I won't do that to a horse. Just do that and get out of there and then never again. So, but it's much easier for me to teach the horses versus the people. But if you're like that kid over there and you're motivated, you'll get it. No matter what gait you're trying to get, you'll get it. As long as that horse is capable. Now I'm backing up because he tripped. There is a bump there, but I want to make sure he pays attention, okay? And he needs backup, so why not use that as an excuse for another backup, okay? So his flat walk is good. It's not hard to put him in it. I just put a little leg on him, and then it's the hardest part for a lot of people is keeping the same rhythm. I don't know if you can hear it. He has bells on him. So there are rhythm bells, and you'll be able to hear that if I'm not talking. And it can help you keep the same rhythm because when you change your speed or they change their stride, those bells aren't going to sound the same. So if you can't feel it, you can't see it, you can sometimes hear it. And that's why a lot of people ride on roads too. They can hear it, but the footing is also consistent versus in here it's not so consistent. All right, what else can we tell you about Icelandic? So a lot of them ship them in, and they don't ship them back out to Iceland because they don't want any diseases or anything coming back in, which is smart, okay? And when you got something good, you try to make sure nothing messes it up. But there are breeders now in the United States and other places, I'm sure. You just got to make sure it's what you want and learn how to ride them because everybody trains them just a little bit differently, okay? He's doing really well, and we're going to the left. So we don't have to go this way much more. Oh, good boy. Now we're going to back up. So pull, leg, release, pull, leg, release. Again, everybody teaches things differently. Now he's pulling on me, so I slid the bit a little bit hard, and I'm still using my leg. So he got himself more work by pulling on me. If he just did what I asked, I wouldn't have backed him up so far. But all instructors will teach things a little bit differently. It's the same thing as golf pros and other trainers in other sports. Everybody's a little different. You find who works for you, and that's who you follow, or that's who you train with and learn from, okay? Because they're making it the easiest for you. Some of us will be talking, and I always try to keep it down a level and not use too big of words or too many, like this is open rein or indirect rein, because I know a lot of people, ours are trail riders and not a lot of training. But some people will go into concepts too far, and it confuses people, and then they can't watch it. They're like, that's over my head. I don't have any idea what they're doing. I'm like, go this speed, get this headset. There you go. Okay, try to make it simple. All right, so we're going to do another turn on the forehand. We can't do enough with those because that also disengages his hindquarter, which could save us if he acts up. Good boy. Okay, so now we're going to try and go faster. As we go faster, he should tolt. Tolt is a 4-beat gait. Okay, it's like the saddle gait. Everybody gets mad when certain breeds, if we call the things the same, so we're calling it a tolt. And what we're trying to do is speed him up and then get him in the frame. That helps him separate the legs the most, and then use our pulls if needed. So I'm going to use both legs and squeeze. Now he shouldn't shake his head, but who knows with that pom-pom thing what's going to happen. Now he's just a little pacey. So what I'm going to try. So what I'm going to try to do is bring his head a little bit lower, except he's pulling right now. So I just went to sliding the bit, and then he tripped. And then we're going to head over this pole. Now again, gaiting somewhere else can be much easier versus gaiting in the arena. That smoothed it out. There he's quite good. Now he's good. Now he's picking up speed. Sure, it's fun. Don't pick up speed. You got to work on the same gait. And I got to get him to bend. Now he got a little pacey again. And I pushed him off my right leg, and I'm half halting on the reins when that happens. Then he slowed down. Now he's too fast and he paced, so I half halt, got my pole. Pole helped. Just separated those legs. Now he's speeding up, so I'm half halting and my leg. When you half halt, it's kind of like you're tapping the brakes, but you also use your leg or your seat because you're trying to get that horse on his hindquarters more. Now he's pulling and pacing, and I brought his head down. That helped. So he's got good gait. He's just got to get a little better attitude and practice this stuff, which I know he probably hasn't been practicing a lot. There, we're quite good. So let's give him a break. Whoa, good boy. Now let's back up. Told you I was going to do a lot of backing up. Okay. Good job, buddy. Wasn't that fun? He's like, nope, it was not. So this is a horse you want to be careful. You never let go of the reins. Because until he stops, you want me? He's like, I am exhausted. You don't want to just throw the reins up here and let go because we know this horse could take off. So don't let go of your reins. Let them go long. Let them have a break, but don't let them go. I see lots of people do that. I'm like, what are you doing? That's like throwing away your steering wheel. Hold it. Don't let go of it. Once you know the horse and you really trust it and you're a good rider, you do whatever you want. But safety first otherwise. Okay. So we're always trying to stop where he's doing a good job. Now again, I stopped a little close to here. Normally I wouldn't, but I definitely don't want to stop there in front of it. So you want to be farther away, and at least I'm facing this direction. I don't want to be facing his stall. Okay? So if you're curious about this saddle, now that my pad has fallen off of it, it's a comfortable saddle, but I need a lot of cushion. I think it fits him well. I got on him from the ground, and it was just fine. It didn't move. It's very adjustable. Again, it's called a stone wall, so you can look it up. And, lots of options. With the Icelandics, they want some shoulder motion. In other words, they want them to be able to use their shoulders and hike up those knees when they're going really fast. And a lot of wagon horses do that. So some of the people will sit the saddles back a little bit in case you see that, or you see like the saddle seats. Like, why do they use those weird saddles? It's usually so they can get out of the way of the shoulders and get good shoulder motion so they can really hike those knees up and reach out also. Okay, so let's try it again. He's like, what? So again, in time, he's going to have a nice little gait, and then we'll go faster with it. Now, he doesn't always respond when I ask him to go forward. So I'm holding pressure. There he goes. See what I said? How about that? You having fun? It's so fun doing this. Oh my God, it's so fun. Look at a little circle you can make. You can make it that way, and then sometimes you can make it this way. Yeah, that circle's fun too. So he tried to run kind of back towards that flag. There you go. And I'm just saying, well, it's okay. If you want to run, it's fine. But this happens every time. Okay, now we're going to go back over the pole, and then we're just going to do it again. So when they don't do it well, I just repeat it. And if he grabs the bit and runs away with me again, I'm just going to do the same thing. That's why that one rein stuff is so important. He thought about it that time, and he's like, not with this lady. So we'll get smoother in a minute. It's no rush to get smooth. It's important to have control. And then with him, again, since if he's getting trotty, that's different. But when they're getting pacey, we're trying to get his neck and his back relaxed. But we have to do that and also not be run away with. And I got to make sure that every time I put pressure on that bit, he gives to me and doesn't drag me away. Until then, there's no point in going out of this arena and submitting myself to being bolted. But once we can do that well, then, oh boy, then we'll start going down the trail. Here he's good. That's pretty good. Whoa, good boy. Now the back up. And he gets another break, and then we'll try it again. So again, when we go to the left, I probably won't go as much. All his problem seems to be to the right. He cuts into the right. He drifts out to the right when I'm going the opposite way. He bolts to the right. I haven't had him bolt to the left that much. Okay? So this direction is not a good direction for us. So we have to do it more. So always do the bad direction first. It's important that you work somewhere safe, especially when your horse is doing issues. You can send up, panels, round pen panels, something. Caution tape's not going to work. Electrical tape is not going to be good in case you hit it. So you need something to hold you in that space and keep you safe in case your horse acts up. If you're just in a pasture and it can run anywhere and drag you, that makes you more nervous. You won't reprimand them as much, and you won't teach them as well because you're going to be afraid. So you need a safe place to fix things, and you might have to go to a boarding stable for a couple of months and fix those things and then go back where you were. But safety is important, and when you're scared or nervous that they're going to do something, you're not going to ride them correctly. Okay, let's try again. So both legs squeeze. So that's how I'm asking them to go faster. When I flat walk, I alternate my legs, and when I do a running walk, a lot of times I alternate my legs. But when I'm doing any of the other gaits, I'm usually both calves squeeze. Now he's pulling, so I held and I braced myself. I'm digging with my legs, I brace my back, I tighten my core up, and I said, "You're not pulling me." He said, "Okay." And he let go of me. So when he lets go, I let go. When he paces, I bend him. Might do a little leg yield or a little pull. I lost my stirrup. See if we can get it on the run. That's how you know your stirrups are too long. They fall off your feet. Here he's quite good. Now he's bouncy again. Now, a horse can be very well gaited. He could have been fantastic when he came from Iceland. He could have had no problems at all. And someone gave him those problems. We don't know that, and it doesn't matter, because we got to fix it anyhow. But we know he has talent. He seems like a sweet horse when he's not testing us. And we just got to help him to be better. Now he slowed down a little bit. Now he pulled on me a little bit when he lost his balance there, so I'm just reestablishing his balance. Trying to get the legs a little bit more separated. He's pulling, I'm bracing. You see I'm not moving my hands. I just brace myself kind of like a pair of side reins and said, well, when you figure out to do your vertical flexion, I'll let go. There he goes. But a lot of you're too soft and they're not getting it. And then, you release at the wrong time, and that's the problem. So I got to get it smoother. He's pulling. There we go. A little better. So I'd like it a little bit better before I stop going this direction. Here we're better, but we're by his stall, so we can't stop. Now, their headset depends, on what you're trying to get from them and if they're more trotty or pacey. But at least right now, he's more pacey, even though he can trot right there. He's good. Whoa. Good boy. Now he's got to back up still. Even though he was good, he's still got to do his back up. Good boy. So, depends if they're going towards that pace or the trot, what you do. If they're going towards the pace, again, we're doing everything natural. He's completely barefoot, has short feet, nothing crazy. So we're just trying to get more relaxation, stretching out, and then trying to stay in a consistent speed and let him just practice and relax in it so it's not such a big deal. And then from there, then you can start going faster. But for today, if you're watching this to see his top speed, I'm not going to do it because he's just not ready. And with him bolting around, I don't want to speed him around after he was doing that. So we're going to change some things on him. We're going to change the bit because that'll help make it much easier so I don't have to pull so hard on him. And then we'll tune these things up, and then I will show you his tolt sooner. Well, that is a slow tolt. I will show you him going faster once he's ready, so in case you have an Icelandic. But usually if they're more pacey, you can bring their head down. If they're more trotty, you can bring their head up. And depending, once you hit those upper speeds, if they're going towards that trot or the pace is what you're going to do. So that's why you might see some of the Icelandics with their head way up and their nose out, and some with their head up and their nose tucked in, and some with their head lower and tucked in. So it just depends on the horse. He's being pretty good for starting out pretty bad. So he's a tester. You're a tester. You're a tester. But he's otherwise a pretty good little horse. Now I have to do another turn on the forehand, so I learned my lesson. And I'm putting my stick in my left hand because he likes to ignore my left leg. And then I can give him little taps when he doesn't go, like there. So I had my leg on him and nothing happened. So he's got to learn that leg or the spur means turn. I know he knows how to do it. And if you don't do it, then more happens. And he can decide if he wants me to tap him every time, or maybe he'll move his hindquarter so he doesn't get tapped anymore. All right, so we're just back at our flat walk. He just went right up into that, and I'm going to wait till we get past here. And then I'm actually, because his stall is over there, I'm switching my stick into the hand that's close to the stall in case he runs that way. Okay, so both legs, we got a nice pace going on. So we're going to go towards our pole. Now, all these things are usually much easier, just so you know, on the road. That's why you see a lot of trainers ride on the road or outside the arena. If you have someone who can get in the arena, you can usually get it anywhere, okay? So we're trying to get all his stuff in the arena first because he also has an issue to keep him safe. There, he's a little pacey again, so I'm slowing him down because his speed's a little too fast. Right there, he's smoother. Then we're going to keep going over poles, okay? The poles just help him to build his muscles, helps him to keep those legs separated so he stays in the correct gait, and then over time we won't need them once they get more conditioned. There, he's pretty good. He slowed down. Now I got my... Now I got my right leg on him because he went towards the gate. Hopping is fine, or even a canter step, because anything that's not a pace is good. There he almost felt like he was going to get a little trotty, so he might be getting tired. Yeah. Okay, let's give him a break. Oh, good boy. Now he's pulling on me, so let's back him up. Remember, hand, leg, waiting for him to bring his nose in a little and not pull on me. Good boy. So we're going to give him another break. So it seems like a very smart horse, very willing horse once he understood he couldn't get away with this stuff. And this happens to a lot of us, okay? But that's why you'll be more successful if you can practice somewhere safe. And then slowly, you know, if they're really bad, stay in a round pen. Once you can do that well, then go in an arena. Once you can do that well, then you can go out in the pasture. Once you can do that well, then go out on the trail. The problem with most people is the horses don't listen to them. You don't teach them any foundation. They go off on trail, and then the horse runs away with them. That's why you're trying to break it down in steps when you're training. Make sure all those steps are good before you progress to the next step. Don't skip steps because it makes it harder for the horses to figure it out. And reward them when they do it right, correct them when they do it wrong. Okay, so let's try it again. Remember, I said I'm not going to go as much to the left, buddy. Okay, so both legs, let's speed up. There, he's pretty good. That little pom-pom thing is shaking all over. He has a lot of hair, Icelandics do. And he has a little trace clip. That's just to help him so he doesn't get so hot. If you're wondering why his hair looks a little weird. Now he slowed down there, so I just waved the stick. I didn't even touch him with it. But with horses like this, I think it's important you have all your tools, because then he can't ignore me and he can't get away with things. Now he's a little pacey there, so I added a little bend, and that helped. And then with horses like this, like he really has not much neck, I'm not going to tilt very far forward like this to try to free up his back, because if he decides to be bad, he could get me off easily because there's no head or neck up there. So I'm going to stay back on him and just stay in my neutral position. That was good. Well, good boy. And then backwards. Good boy. Now he gets another break. So we didn't go very long, and we're going to go one more time. You act like it, Doug, but you're spunky. Yes, you are. The camera's on. Don't be lying. All right, I don't know what else you want to know. Icelandics are smaller. Occasionally, I've had one that came through that was 14.2. I've had crosses that are 15 hands or more come through, but most of them are on the smaller side, but they're quite tough. Saddle fitting is extremely difficult with them, so this one fits him well. Look at a stone wall if you're having problems fitting your horse. And they have pretty good feet, most of them. I like Icelandics. I think they're fun. And you can jump them. They can do all sorts of stuff. So even though they can do the lateral gait of the tolt, many of them can trot. And if you ride well, you give them the cues so they know when to trot and when to gait. And you can do all your dressage stuff or jumping, and then you can go trail ride and gait. So they're pretty cool. Okay? You can do that with a lot of the breeds, but a lot of people don't. Okay? All right, one more time. Yeah, you're almost done. Now, when I'm done with him, he is not going to his stall. He's going to be tied up over there away from his new friends. And I like to tie him up where they're not by their friends. We're pacing. And we're going to get a little bend and hit the pole to help us. Because then there's no rush to being done with work, because it's no fun. It's not like he gets to go back to his friends or food. When he's done, he stands. So this is better than standing all by yourself. And it works. That was smooth right there. It was pretty good. Now we're a little pacey again. Good boy. Good boy. So when you tie him up afterwards, and you tie him up places that are not so fun, the horses usually aren't in a rush so much to be done anymore. And that's why, those quarter horses and, ranch horses are in no rush to go anywhere. That was good. Well, because their day is never over. 8, 12 hours they're out there being ridden, tied up, because that's their job. And those horses are very well behaved because of all the work they're getting. And that makes for great horses, okay? Lots of work. So then once they're good and they have a good work ethic, you don't have to work them as much anymore. And so ranch horses, if they're sound and good, I'm looking at the stirrups. Let's see if that one can be shorter. Are great horses. They're pom-pom. So you're trying to make sure that you give your horse a good work ethic, and sometimes that means you have to do, good boy. Yeah, you did good. Yes, you did. You got to give him a lot of work in the beginning. So that's what this guy is going to get, is a lot of work. But he needs a lot of work for a while, not just the time he's here. And a lot of tying up and reprimanding if he's doing things bad. And he's going to be, I think, a very nice horse. All right, I hope that helps. Icelandic are great horses. And if you have one, congratulations. It's nice that you got one. And if it's being bad, just know you can fix it, but you probably need help because they are strong horses. All right. Remember to like and subscribe.